video, I'm going to show you how to play Echo in Season 19 of Overwatch 2. Now, Echo is one of the most high skill ceiling DPS, if not heroes, in the entire game. And because of this, people tend to struggle playing her because she is decently difficult. But in this video, I'm going to showcase how to play her in a replay I have. But quickly, I'm just going to go over her cooldown and how to use them, as well as what perks I believe you should pick. Okay, so her sticky bombs, it's going to be very simple. You're just going to use them off cooldown to do as much damage as possible. Because they're only on a 6-second cooldown, like there's no reason to really hold on to them. So every time you have them, just try and use them on enemies, and then they'll take damage, and then they'll die. Try and be decently close so that you don't struggle landing the bombs because they are a projectile. Focusing beam, again, a very simple cooldown. You just want to use it when people are like under half HP because it does more damage. That's it. You don't do this thing like I see Echo players do this a lot. Well, let me put the perks. So like I see Echo players do this a lot, but like they like combo and then beam, but like they're not always some random circumstance could happen where like the bombs don't bring them down to half HP, and then you've just wasted your beam. So what I want you to do is when you see them half HP or under, then I want you to beam, because then you're getting the guaranteed value. And Echo's flight, this is what makes Echo such a good hero. I see a couple of ways that I like to use flight. So first of all, when like the fight's kind of just like starting and there's not too much going on, I like to use flight to create an off angle in the sky and just put myself in a really annoying position, because now the enemies have to choose to either look at my team on the ground or me high up in the sky, and it just gives me a really good opportunity to do damage. The second way I like to use flight is when I'm taking an off angle. So like let's say I'm shooting these guys, and then I see the fight is going on. I like to move to an off angle and then sneak up behind them, shoot them, and then when they see me, I like to use my flight as a disengage. This is how I most commonly use flight, because like you're not always going to get like so much value from just flying up in the sky. What I like to do is like I like to get close to the enemies and then use the flight as a disengage. But you can also use the flight to catch up to enemies. So let's say you're shooting them and then they run away and you want to catch up to them, well then you can use your flight to very quickly catch up to them and kill them. So Echo's abilities aren't too complex. Beam, you just use it on half HP targets. You use your sticky bombs off cooldown to get as much damage as possible, and you use your flight to create off angles and get away from off angles. Now, Echo's ult. The way I like to use Echo's ult is the same way I like to use D.Va's ult. It's basically just a second life. So when I have copy, I like to allow myself to play super aggressive, use all my cooldowns, and then when I get low, I just copy, and then I keep living, and then after the copy, I can ask myself, okay, do I want to stay in the fight or do I just want to get out? You just use it as a D.Va bomb for a second life. Now, for Echo's perks, I'm pretty convinced that Focused Rush and Full Salvo are the two best perks. I picked Focused Rush because having more beam range and movement speed is really good, because it just makes you a bit more lethal. And I'm gonna get into this in the replay, but the range you want to play Echo at is roughly in beam range, because then that's like your most lethal range. And this perk obviously is going to increase how far your beam goes, which kind of lets you play a little bit further. I'm not saying you should play further, but it gives your beam a little bit more lethality because you can do it from way further away. And I picked Full Salvo because having more bombs gives you more damage, and there's nothing wrong with having more damage. Now, let's get to the replay, and where I'm actually going to show you how to play it. Now that I've gone through the cooldowns and stuff, I just want to explain how do you actually win and carry a game on Echo or on any DPS? Well, the way you carry on DPS is by doing a lot of damage that leads up to a kill, because it's all good doing 20k damage, but if all of that is on a fortified Orisa, it doesn't really matter. So the way we're going to get kills is by off angling very often, and by shooting the right people. And as Echo, you can off angle very often because you can fly. By the way, if you want coaching, make sure to check out the top link in the description. If you're a person who's interested in learning how to actually improve and begin to rank up in Overwatch 2, this is going to be the place for you. That's the video. See, I'm already using my flight to take an angle above, somewhere where the enemies might not be expecting me. I'm using my bombs. And the Mon is a bit of a difficult map because you have to set up well. Again, you can see I'm using my flight, using my bombs to just try and create an angle. Because you can see, these guys have to look at me in the sky, right? Are they gonna look in this hallway, or are they gonna look in the sky at me, right? These guys have to make that choice. And then if they look at me, my team can actually come around and shoot them for free. You see how this ram's getting shot a bit? Because the Sojourn off-angled him. Because he was distracted by me. Now you can't just fly immediately in, like as Echo, because a lot of this is open space, so like you have to do the right setup. Again, you can just see I'm using my flight to take the high ground. You can also use my flight to take high ground. I'm not sure how I didn't mention that. You can use your flight to get out of places. I'm just trying to use my bombs. I saw the soldiers there, so I used cover. And then once I got shot at, I realized, okay, this isn't really a great place to be. Like, you know, they know I'm here. I'm not really getting a lot of damage, so I'm just gonna move. And because that guy's pretty good at flanking, I was like, why not just try something out? You know, let me try go on a flank here. So I used my flight to get close. I used my bombs on him. And that's it. Like it's very simple, right? I took a flank because I realized going main wasn't working. I got behind the soldier. I used my bombs. I tried to use my beam because the soldier was below half health. He gets away, but that's fine because he had to run away, and then the Mercy got killed because she was on the soldier. I changed angles here. You see how I'm not staying on this angle for so long. Once the soldier actually looks at me, I'm gonna just change angle. I'm not there to like stay there and try and get a kill. Like I just move because maybe I might be able to find myself another kill. I use bombs again off cooldown. And when you've got your flight and you're kind of in this like dangerous position, you can allow yourself to just like run away because you have flight. You can use it to disengage. Now here I die because you know they just shot me. But look at what happens like because they looked at me, right? I've got Alari and Zarya looking at me, and two of them are dead. So that means there's no one on the point to contest, and the team can take a bunch of space. And then because these two guys are all the way back here, my team is able to just collapse on them and kill them eventually, right? So because I distracted them, they were able to kill them. That's another reason why you want to off angle. So you don't just off angle to try and get a kill. You know, like that is the main reason why you off angle. But most of the time, taking an off angle is actually just going to be something you do to distract enemies. Like again, I'm not going down main because I'm Echo. I've got like a very mobile kit, and I'm close enough to cover to where like I'm not in cover, but like in my head I'm like, okay, I can go in this room if I need to. So I just come on the flank, try and shoot. And then once they shoot me, I'm immediately behind cover, right? I'm not in open space. I'm close enough to the door so I can go in here. It's very important on Echo to always know where cover can be, to know where distance can be, or else you're gonna find yourself dead a lot because you're 225. So again, I'm just on the off angle, I'm shooting, and then I use my flight to take an even stronger off angle. So like being here is nice because the enemies are gonna have to choose to look between left or right. But now, once I use my flight, I'm in an even stronger off angle because now they have to look up and to the right. And then because of that, I was able to land a couple of stickies on the Mercy, plus my ball engaged on her, so it's just an easy kill. And then we kill her. I use my beam, which is half HP. But like you see how this Mercy, right? Me and the ball are taking two separate angles, right? She can't avoid both of us. Even if she avoids me by playing over here, the ball's still gonna be on her. And if she tries to fly forwards to like run away, then she's gonna get shot at by me. We kill her, boom, beam, and then we just kill the ram. And then you can see I tried to copy there. Unfortunately, I just missed my shots and I died. I think instead of like landing down, I should have either like landed behind the cover here, or I should have gone like back to my team. But I was kind of in a crap spot. But here, this is where, like I explained in the practice range, had I hit just a cut like one more shot, I would have got my ult in time, and then I copy, and then I have that second life, and then I can live very easily. Okay, I'm coming back from spawn, and you can see I don't want to play on the floor. I'm a flying character. If you're playing Echo or Pharah or Freya or like anyone who can fly, you should be in the air very, very often. Because if you're not in the air, you're trolling. Right? Because like you can see, the soldier's got to look at me and not my team. And then once I get my flight back, I take an off angle. And you can see, because I've got copy, I don't really care about the danger I'm in because I can just look at someone and then copy and then live and then I'm fine. I can use this copy as a second life, and then obviously inside of the copy you can play very aggressive because you're not gonna die if you lose all of your HP. But obviously, when your copy's about to run out, make sure you're running like to safety. So like you can see, my copy's about to run out. The Genji's chasing me, so I run below him to cover so that he can't shoot me immediately after my copy. Because you can see, I'm only 100 health. But then you can see immediately back to the damage, and then boom, I get shot at. I use flight to quickly disengage. So like, can you see how like smoothly I'm transitioning from angle to angle? It's like I was up top, and now I'm on the bottom. And now I take this off angle down here, because why is this an off angle? Because these guys are going to be focused on my team over here. I'm going to surprise them from this left angle, which is going to give them a choice. Are they going to look at me and give my team space, or are they going to keep looking at my team and let me shoot them? They choose to look at me, and then when I get put in danger, I just shift out, easy. And then, I just heal up, and I go. Now, I don't stay on the cart like a fucking robot. I'm gonna set up. Now, usually I would say, oh yeah, you can do damage before the fight, and like Echo can do that. Echo's pretty decent at doing damage before the fight because she has decent poke. But I think it's gonna be more worth it in this situation because they have to touch. If I just wait for them to have to go to the cart. And as you can see, I'm in a pretty good spot because my team is on main on cart, and I'm on this flank over here, ready for them to, shoot my team. Then as you can see, I'm on the off angle, I'm distracting, and look, I go for a kill, I shoot, and then when I see I'm in danger, I don't overextend. The angle's fucked. I'm being shot at. The enemy I was gonna kill is getting away, so I can't kill her. I'm low. I'm just gonna use my flight to disengage. Boom. What is the soldier meant to do about that? Boom. And then I also use the flight to kind of reposition myself back into a spot where I can get back to the damage. And then because of that, when my cooldowns come back, I'm able to re-engage. So whilst my flight is recharging, I'm moving to another flank, to another off angle, because you don't want to be down main. That's like a bad spot to be in. When you have less health than most people in the lobby, you need to be sneaky. You need to be taking angles where people aren't looking at you. This is an exact example. Ilari is looking down main. I'm silently coming from the right, flanking her. And then because I flanked her, I have the element of surprise. And because I've got the element of surprise, that gives me the ability to kind of line up my stickies. I mean, I missed most of them, but it gives me the ability to line up the stickies, and I kill them. I kill her. And then I just shoot, and I could keep shooting this ram, but I didn't think that my Kiriko was like already over here. So my idea was, okay, instead of shooting the ram who's full HP, who has armor, he's gonna be hard to kill, I'm gonna go around the flank and see if I can kill anyone. And just like that, boom, I come from the off angle. Why is it an off angle? Well, you could probably guess. Anna is looking at ram. By the time she even knows what's happening, there's 6 sticky bombs in her face. She gets low SP, she has to use nade, and she just barely gets out. But I almost killed her because I had the element of surprise. Now, I like to kind of just stay around this building because it just lets me do poke, and it lets me use my flight to get around on either side. Yeah, it lets me get around like either lane. So like I like to kind of play around this building because it lets me either shoot main, or take this lane, or take this lane, like once the fight starts. Then you can see here, I'm shooting from the off angle. I'm using flight constantly to get up into a high position, so I can shoot them. And a good part about doing that, a good part about using your flight to get up really high, is that by the time you get back down to the ground, your flight is already on a 2-3 second cooldown. You see, but by the time I touch the ground again, my flight's nearly back on cooldown, and then I can just use it again to take an off angle. And look, Ram's looking at me. Ram is looking at me. He's not looking at my team. I can see the Ash as well. And another good thing about being in the air is that you can see people very easily. I can see this guy's low HP. I use my bombs, and I actually kill him. I'm actually surprised that I killed him there. But why did I kill him? Because I could see him from the sky. And then I used my bombs to just kill him. Now, because I've got my copy, I'm just walking out in the open. Why? Because I'm not killable. I just copy Hog, and then I go for the kill. He lives because his character is OP. But then you can see I'm just running around. I'm trying to kill people. Like, with copy, the goal isn't to get the ultimate in copy. I don't care about the ult in copy. I care about living because I use copy, and then going to do more damage. If I get an ult during copy, that's great, but that's not the main goal. So the first round went pretty well. It was decently flawless. I died a couple of times. But what did you see I did often there? I use my flight often to take off angles, which is what you need to do to get kills, which is how you win games. I used my beam when people were under half HP, and I used my bombs constantly. Pay attention for this first point, how often I use bombs. Boom, bomb. And then look, again, bomb. Look, like I'm missing. It's fine. It's on a 6-second cooldown. Sure, I could be aiming the bombs a bit better, but that's fine. It's about using them often so that you could learn how to actually use them. Here, I'm trying to use my beam on the ball, and then I take an off angle on the left, and boom. Because I didn't use my flight, by the way, because I don't need to use my flight. I'm already on a good off angle. Someone pushed me with their cooldowns. I was able to run away with my cooldowns and kill him. And then because he's overextended, he dies. I go down, I shoot the Hog, I use my bombs and my sticky bomb. Or my oh, I'm going insane. I use my bomb and my beam. Why? Because I want to constantly do damage. I want to get value from my cooldowns. I bomb. I don't beam right after I bomb. I beam once I see he's low HP. That's the difference. Most people would bomb beam right here. They would bomb and then beam, but you don't do that. You wait until they're actually half HP, and then you beam, because that's when your beam's gonna do, you know, the 300 there. I can't speak. I'm gonna crash out. The 300 damage. And I'm just flying back up to the high ground. I'm using bombs. When I don't have my cooldowns, I'm playing a little bit safer because I'm more vulnerable. But you can see when I have my cooldowns, I kind of peek out a bit, go for damage. I can hear the soldier running over here, so I go to chase him, but I got sandwiched. So like you can see, I just dropped down. I use cover against the Zarya. We go over here because why not? And then once I see the Roadhog, right, I don't stay on that angle. I don't fight him. I just run away. That's another important part of taking angles. When you take an angle, it's okay to just leave. If you find it's too dangerous or you're not getting any value, just run. And again, you can see here. Once the fight kind of starts, I use my flight to take an off angle, make people look at me. The soldier's over here just focused on me. Now, sure, he isn't able to look at anyone else. But if I can distract people for as long as possible, this is one less soldier that the enemy team has to shoot my team. And then I end my flight kind of behind cover so that no one can see me. You see how I ended the flight and not a lot of people can see me? But I'm still trying to do damage. And if worse comes to worst, I can just drop. I die because I trolled. But if I had a bit more health there, I'd probably kill it. But that's fine. You're not always gonna live every scenario. And in fact, if you don't die in Overwatch, you're fine. Again, I just use my flight to kind of sneak up on the Mercy. I don't shoot her immediately. I want to try and get a bit closer to land my bombs because it's going to be easier to land the bombs if I'm closer. Now I suck at the game, so I miss, which is unfortunate. But hey, even after I've used all my cooldowns, I'm still trying to shoot. I'm playing a good distance away to where I can back up if they chase me. And I'm still trying to do damage. And then boom, Genji pushes me, I use fire to get out. I use bombs. I see Hog. I see he's low HP, I try and go for him. But because the Sombra's shooting at me, I have to go for the Sombra. Right? The Hog's low and I wanted to try and beam this guy. But I can't ignore someone who's just shooting me, so I fight back. I use this piece of metal as cover here. But I was kind of scared I was gonna die, so I just copied, and then we can win the fight. Ignore my aim, it's very bad. And then that's it. Nothing complicated. Like, what did I do this fight? I used my flight to take an angle. I tried to use my cooldowns. And then when I have no cooldowns, I played safe. And then obviously my cooldowns came back. I used my flight to disengage. Use my bombs. And then once I thought I was going to die, I just used copy and then boom, fight's over. Very simple. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but it is simple. Zarya's pushing me. I move back because I don't want to fight Zarya. I use flight to take an angle to see if I can shoot anyone. I don't see anyone, so it's very important, by the way. When you use fly like that to like, you know, if you're here, you fly up. It's very important to land back into a safe position. You don't want to land back in open space because that's how most people die. It's because you're not landing back into like safety, and then you just die. Here, I see Hog. I use flight to kind of chase him, bait him into hooking me. Honestly, that was kind of lucky that he missed. I chase the Sombra because I see she's kind of low. I use my flight again. Again, you can constantly see I'm either using my flight to engage people from the off angle, or I'm using my flight to disengage after I've been pushed out. Here, I'm using my flight to fly close to the Genji because he's running away. Kind of a bad beam because it was too far away, but it's fine. And like I'm not crazy good at Echo. Like my aim kind of sucks on this area. Like honestly, like I don't have very good aim when I play Echo. But because I'm playing fundamentally well, because I'm using my cooldowns often and correctly, I'm able to get kills, right? Why did I get this kill? Because when I had flight, I used it. You know, I saw Genji there, but I couldn't shoot him because he was deflect. So I just go for the Mercy. I use bombs, and she dies. But then I see Genji's in. Let's just say that beam was a misclick. False. But obviously I shouldn't have used beam there because he wasn't half HP. And I really want to hammer it down. When you don't have cooldowns, you can't play as aggressively as you can with them. Like that sounds really stupid and obvious, but it's like think about it. If I don't have my flight, I can't play as aggressive because I can't quickly disengage. If I don't have my beam, it's not the end of the world. You don't need your beam, but you know you can't finish off half HP targets. If you don't have your bombs, you can't burst damage people, right? So you have to play a little bit safer. But then when you have your cooldowns, you come back and you try and do damage. Overwatch is a very cyclical game where it's like made up of cycles, right? You know, you have your cooldowns, you get aggressive, you push, you use your cooldowns, and then once your cooldowns run out, you run to safety, wait for them to come back, and then the cycle begins. So now you can see we won the fight, but I'm not gonna sit here doing nothing. I'm gonna go on a flank and try and get some damage. Why? Because why not? They see me, I get shot out, I run away. Big deal. My flight comes back in 6 seconds anyway. It's fine. I see Zarya's pushing me here. I don't want to take a Zarya 1v1, so I just roll out. So I disengage. Bombs, because why not? And then when I have no flight, I'm not playing close over here because they have Genji Sombra. If they were to push me up here, I have a very high likelihood of dying. So I'm playing back here, and then you'll probably see once my flight begins to come back and cool down, I'm either going to use it to walk forward so I can get close, or I'm just going to use my flight to get close. Yep, there we go. Because I have my flight, I know that I can run away. And I whiff my beam because I'm a fucking shit can. And that's it. Okay, I get hacked. I shoot back. It's always important to shoot back. Almost kill her. Yeah, I can't do much because I have no cooldowns, but then you can see I just fly in. The reason why I fly in here is for a couple of reasons. I have my copies, so I can, you know, live. 2, we need to contest, and that's it, right? I have my copies, so I'm not gonna die, and we need to contest. So I kill him, and then I'm gonna go for the Zarya because the Mercy isn't very killable. But I see the Mercy is rezzing, so I go for the whole hog. I kill her, and then once my copy runs out, right? On point is now a very dangerous position. Before, it wasn't that dangerous because I was in copy. But now that I'm out of copy, I need to fly out so that I can look into the point and not be on the point. Because now I'm in a good position to use my bombs on my beam. But we end up losing the fight, which is unfortunate, but it's okay. But what do? I don't sit back doing nothing. I fly up, I do damage. Because now look, if you are someone on the enemy team, you have to look at, you know, this fucking guy in the sky who's just flying, right? It's very annoying to have to look at 18 different locations. I'm shooting, using my bombs. Once my flight comes off cooldown, I'm gonna wait for them to actually appear, and then I'm gonna fly up. I don't fly up immediately because there's no one to actually shoot, right? You know, like no one's actually shooting people. I wait a little bit so that people can actually appear. And then when I see my ball using grapple, I thought he was going to go in. So I flied up. I flew up. And then I go for the beam. Dead. Nice. Now, I died for it. But I probably didn't have to die for that. I think once I killed that guy and I got hacked, I could have used this room as cover here. But unlucky. It happens. I die. I get rezzed. Now I thought, I don't know if I actually go for it. Yeah. I thought of going up here to go for the flank, but that would have taken too long at this point, and the fight would have already started without me. And the longer I'm not in the fight, the longer my team is in a 5v6. So I just didn't go for it. Instead, I just chose to fly up, go for the off angle. It basically produces the same result. I'm able to do damage in the sky, forces them to look at me, using my bombs. And I'm not doing anything crazy because I can't do anything crazy, right? I just have to use fly to get up. And you can see I'm constantly using my fly to get up. I know it sounds repetitive, but I'm constantly trying to use it to just get up, trying to shoot people, trying to make them look at me. And the mistake I made was here is that I didn't realize they were just pushing forward this far. I didn't know where the Sombra was, and I just didn't use cover well enough to avoid the hook here, and I died. It happens. Wait, I get rezzed? I actually don't even remember this. Okay, I get rezzed. So what's the first plan of action? Well, look, when you get rezzed, you have to, you know, stabilize yourself and actually understand what's happening. So I just flew up so I could get a bird's eye view, and then I could see what's happening. And I see Zarya chasing me, so guess what? I'm just gonna use my flight to disengage. What's she gonna do? She can't chase me. I can run away all I want. Shooting. Again, like you'll notice, I'm always constantly shooting. I'm always playing their cover. And I'm always in a position to either go on a flank or, you know, off angle. And then you can see I use my flight to get on the flank over here before the fight started. So that by the time I land, my team and their team are just going to start fighting, which means I'm in a very good position to do damage. And I low-key whiffed all my mines, but it's fine because look, I force out bubble, I make Sombra look at me. So if you think about it, right, I'm technically distracting two people, right? Because the Zarya is putting resources into Mercy, and the Sombra is looking at me. So they're technically down 2 people right now. They have no Zarya and no Sombra. And then, when I get low, I just use copy. The reason why I went on this flank is because I had copy, right? I've copy, so there's no reason for me to not go on this flank. So then I'm just gonna try and shoot. You can play really stupid in copy because, you know, what are they gonna do? Kill you? No, they can't kill you. So I just TP forward. EMP, because why not? And then that's it. Wait, I died? No, it's just broken text. Okay. So again, am I gonna sit on the payload and do nothing like these fucking bums? No. I am a good player and I do damage before the fight. So you can see I'm trying to shoot. Boom. Bombs. Damage. But I don't really like that position, so I move. Doesn't mean I'm not shooting, I'm just moving position. I fly up. I go for damage. And like you can just see like how annoying this is, right? Because they're trying to look at these guys down here. But there's just a fucking echo so high in the sky. And like these guys can't do anything about it. Like Orisa can't do much about it, Zarya can't do much about it. Like yeah, literally no one on their team can actually do anything about me. So I can just play in the air and just get free damage. Now I moved back here because I could hear the Sombra and I knew she was here somewhere. And look, as you can see, my aim is kind of trash on this area. That's fine. Okay. I land up on the high ground. Why? Because I have no cooldowns. And I have to play safe. I have to wait for my cooldowns to come back. And then I can re-engage once I have them. We get grabbed. We lose the fight. So I use my flight to disengage. And then boom, that's it. Not much I can do there. Zarya lands a good grab. But again, you can still see, even though like I'm down 5 teammates, I'm still trying to do damage when possible. I'm trying to play as close as possible to make it easier to land shots. If you find yourself not able to land shots on Echo, it's probably because you're not playing close enough. And like, what do you know is close enough? About beam range. Beam range is close enough because 1, it's, you know, like it's beam range, like that's your lethality. And 2, that's roughly the same range where it's easy to hit shots. Now how did I kill this guy? Because he's feeding, right? You can see I fly up, I off angle, and honestly, I don't think this Genji was actually paying attention to the fact that I'm up here, which let me be unscouted, so I was just able to shoot him as he dove in with my cooldowns, and I kill him with beam. Why do I beam? Because he's half HP. Now I can use my flight to get behind them and do some serious damage. Like you can see the Sombra's looking at me, the Mercy has to fly away. the Arista's looking at me because I flew up to the high ground, and then when I have flight again, I'm gonna try and take it there. I'm speaking too much. I'm gonna use flight to take an off angle. The Zarya has to look at me. And here I made that mistake, by the way. In the practice range, I said don't beam bomb combo if you don't know they're gonna be under half. I used my bombs and then my beam because I thought the Zarya was gonna be half HP. But I didn't see. I should have seen that she was gonna be half HP and then beam. Now would that have stopped me from dying? No. What would have stopped me from dying was using cover when I got low. But I don't want you guys to make that mistake. But anyway, I come back, and what do? I don't sit on the payload. We do damage. Why do we do damage? Because it puts pressure on them, and they can't walk forward as fast. Now, I'm just waiting in this room because I want to go on a flank. Why do I want to go on a flank? Because I've got copy, and it's last fight, and if I can separate their attention, it's going to be really good. But I can also hear this Genji coming up on me. He wants to kill me. But that's fine, because I've got copy and I can just live. Now, I don't kill this guy because I suck at Genji. But I'm distracting him. And even if he, like, destroys my copy, he is still not helping his team. And then we win. And also, keep in mind, by the way, this guy has ult. Like, this Genji has ult. He could have used that in Rush Valk to help kill my team. But instead, he was taking a 1v1 with me because I'm just baiting him. So this guy actually got rage baited so supremely. But anyway, that's how you play Echo. Let me know if you want me to make like a live game where I go over my thought process. And also, I do stream on Twitch basically every single day. And I also do coaching. I have a coaching service called Elevate Academy. It's a school community where you have to join or like you have to pay to join, and then watch it and you get access to all my courses. You can be a part of the community where people can make posts and like comments and like reply to people. It's like a general community, right? You can also DM me. We'll go on coaching calls whenever you want. I think it's a really good service. I've already helped people rank up. So check out the top link in the description if you're interested in that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.